Coach, over the last couple of days, both Nate and Kale used the phrase multiple times. It starts with me. It starts with our top guys. What can you say about the performance from your top players tonight?
Yeah, it always does. I think, your leaders and your top guys, you hear it all the time, have to be your top guys. But then in the same breath, you don't want to just rely on your top guys all the time. But they're put out in situations to help you produce offense, and they're hard on themselves when they don't. I like that personally because they're holding themselves to a high standard. But I mentioned this morning to somebody else that it's still a group of five working for one another that helps create offensive opportunities for those guys and for other guys. It's not a one-man job or a two-man job to create offense. And I thought we were more connected tonight as a group of five, working at the same time instead of one or two guys working and, a couple guys watching. But they come up and play like their best game of the series, and they get rewarded on skill plays that start with hard work from the group, and then their skills allowed to shine, and then they were fantastic. Kale was outstanding, creating scoring chances not just for his line mates but for himself, beating guys one-on-one, and obviously Nate was the same way, and I mean, the power play steps up, tough go for a handful of games, but we win the special teams, and I mean, it's a huge response after goal one, after goal two. So it was a great team effort. Like, we were short a guy on the bench with Trenin leaving the game, and so we were running kind of three lines with a little bit of a mix, and guys did a nice job. They got into the game, they stayed in the game, they stayed disciplined.
You've used the expression that Dallas has a say in this series, too, and I wondered where this game ranks for you in terms of what Colorado had to say in response.
Well, it was a evenly played game. It was a close game, and it's not the first one of the series. I know, hey, we haven't led, but there's, game one's a one-goal game, game two's a one-goal game, and this one's a one-goal game. I think there's 4 one-goal games if you take the empty nets out of it so far in the series. And they played a good hockey game. We had they made some mistakes that we capitalized on, and we had some unforced errors that they capitalized on too. But they still had a say in those goals against, right? Like, we have the turnover, the first one, and it's bang, bang, back of the net, and we had an option to rim that just to get out of trouble. We throw one over the glass, and their power play capitalizes, but it's after a handful of really good shifts from Dallas. So it's a little bit back and forth. You got to survive those situations. You got to bend, not break, and we broke a couple times tonight, but so did they. I think I like it because it was a really resilient game from us. Go down twice and just stay with it. Don't give up on it. And that's probably the thing I like the most of it. It was, they took some of the stuff we showed over the last couple days on the offensive side of it, and you can see steps in the right direction and a little more confidence and not so uptight and scared to make plays as we were in the previous couple games, trying to be perfect. Like, we played our game, we played with skill, we played with little pace. So, I don't know if it ranks as my favorite game of the series, but it's certainly a huge win for us.
Nick, and then Aaron.
You mentioned Kale creating scoring chances for himself. The second goal is an example of that. Can you just describe the move he made to set up the shot?
Yeah, and I think he did that like 3 times. Like, he drove one right to the paint, and I don't know what it hit. I haven't seen it on replay, but he drove it right in there, all the way down to Ottinger. They did a nice job sort of picking everyone else up. To be able to recognize that and not just shoot it from distance after you beat a guy, to be able to drive it in the paint takes an elite level of patience and awareness and skill, and he showed that on multiple times tonight. And it's like they're doing such a good job getting in the shooting lanes you can't, like, every one of our D or theirs doesn't have the ability to dance a guy in space and take it to the net, right? Like, it takes elite skill to be able to do that, and there's only a handful of guys in the league that can do it. And he ends up doing it multiple times tonight to create that scoring chance. So it's just high skill awareness, understanding your opponent, I'm sure, is part of it, and what they're trying to do. And so, I mean, great on him. I mean, that's what we need from him. Obviously, we need that now, especially where we're at in the series, and his skill shines through, and his competitiveness shines through tonight.
For starters, is there an update on Yakov Trenin?
Well, he wasn't good enough to come back in the game. It's not. I don't know if it's anything serious, but what's serious? Like, if he misses next game, it's serious enough, and we'll see. Like, we'll see how he presents tomorrow, what kind of work the trainers can do on him, and we'll try to get him ready to go. And if he's not ready, we'll have to put somebody else in.
You guys entered the third period. It's 2-2, and your season's on the line. Just what does it do for you guys? Is it a little bit of a relief to get that goal pretty quickly and finally have them chasing?
Oh, yeah. I think I definitely like to get that's the first lead of the series, even though it's been close for long periods of time. Then they got to push. Like, we haven't forced them, throughout the course of the series to push and have to try and create. They're a smart, disciplined, well-coached, well-balanced, deep hockey team, and part of that is that you're allowed to be that more often when you're not behind. So it was frustrating because I thought we had a good first period, and we've that turnover finally happens. Like, we're talking and trying to make sure we're disciplined and pushing to try and get the first goal, but still defending the right way, and we haven't been able to get it. And we finally get it in the third period, so that helps. And you can see then, even though there's 18 minutes left, they have to get more guys involved in their attack to try and create. They can stay as patient as they would like to, but hopefully we're defending well enough throughout the course of the series that they're going to have to, put more guys involved in the rush and in O-zone play, and we're able to capitalize again. So I think it's huge to be able to get that, and it gives our team room to breathe. And they're disciplined group and resilient group. So you get the lead. I don't think the comeback goal rattled us at all. It was just like, we got lots of time. We can keep pushing, keep doing the right things, and just stressing the right things on the bench. But they were bought into it tonight. It was a really good group effort.
And Middlestat scored that early third period goal. Can you sort of talk about the way he's fit in and the moments he's had? I mean, he can't just be about one line, obviously.
Yeah, and I think that's huge for him, right? Because he's, even earlier in the game, he gets that chance. They're walking in on the 2-on-1. He's kind of all alone and loses it off his stick, so he hasn't capitalized on some of his best opportunities. But he scores last game off the forecheck. He scores again tonight. I mean, any offense that you can sort of chip in, it's just not easy to create. Even our top guys are having a really tough time because checking is something that all the coaches are stressing, and the buy-in from the teams are so high, especially when you get down to the final 8. He played a rock-solid game defensively, and he was able to chip in again tonight, which is just huge. I mean, it's been a huge addition for us.
Coach, I know it was 3-1 coming into tonight, but when you went back and watched video of any of these first 4 games, did it ever really feel that imbalanced to you, like you were that inferior of a team?
No, it doesn't. But then you read stuff online, and it certainly feels like it is. Like it is what it is. It's about the results this time of the year, so I get the criticism, and I get when you win, I get the praise. It's well deserved, and you got to find a way. It's just not always that easy. Even things that we think are tactically correct, you have to repeat them over and over enough to be able to get rewarded. Like, just beating their pressure one time doesn't guarantee you goals. It's got to be often enough. And again, they have something to say about it too. And 4 1-goal games, and there's one that we let get away, and tonight we came out on the winning end of it, and we got to go try and do it again at home.
Jared, you split up Nate and Mikko on the top line. Just curious what you thought about the results of that tonight.
Yeah, no complaints. It was just, I was asked earlier why, and we weren't producing, right? We weren't producing enough to win, and I think as a coach, you want to try and stay with it, let the team respond, let the line respond to whatever, tactical and systematic things you can give them. But at some point, you might need to change it to get a spark, It's always a balance of just going to something new or changing it too early. They've proven in the past that they can come back from, and they might have had a great game together tonight. I don't know, but I did like both those lines. Drew he played a really good game one coming back from the injury or game four, and in his first one, and he's had chemistry with Max, so we put him there, and obviously they had a good night, and same thing with Mikko. Impactful plays, like he gets in on the forecheck on the dump, and good breakout, good dump, good forecheck to sort of create the Parise to, I think it was Gerard's shot that Middlestead scores on. So, we're happy with the change, no question. Yeah, I don't think we can sort of look back and say we're not. We got the win. That's the most important thing.
Coach, we've talked about the playoff atmospheres and the fans really getting into it. Broadcast showed a fan sitting behind the bench trying to maybe resemble your likeness a bit. I just didn't know if you caught that.
I didn't. Yeah, no. I don't look around too much in the stands during the game.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's Kale and Georgie up here shortly.